Hi, in this video I'm going to run through how to use this program, the credit reader accounting, and how to how to send invoice through an email. So if you are sending invoice through an email, after logging into the home page, there's set inventory item on your left side, this icon. So select it, make sure that this is on. Send every invoices via mail. Make sure that this is checked. If it is not checked, if you send email, it won't work. So once this is checked like this, make sure that it's checked like this, then you just close. You don't need to save, you don't need to do anything, just check it, then close this. So once you close it, you can now go to your sales page to sell, and anything you sell from this page now will be sent to the email address of your customer. So the email address of your customers must have been set through the vendors. I'm sorry, through the customer list. Yeah, under new customer, it uses this email address here. So if I have this as a customer and this is the email address of this customer, you understand, I can have a new customer. I can decide to type a new customer, put the name and all that. And if you have an existing customer, all you just need to do is select this, select the customer, and change the email address. So once you change the email address, you can easily update it by using this icon here. So if you update it using this icon, automatically it updates everything here. So but the most important thing is the address, the email address here. Then once you update it, then when sending the invoice, it's going to use this email address that you must have set for the customer. So if I close this now, you can see I'm sending. I've chosen this Knox Baba as my customer. Then now if I'm using the sales page, which is this, and probably this customer is already selected because I have added this customer to my POS client. So this is POS client. You can add a customer that you are going to be using all the time. So if I'm going to be using this Knox Baba as my customer all the time I send invoice, I can add this person here. So this is important for people that run supermarket, because they don't have to create customer name all the time. So they can just choose a customer. They can call the customer name general customer. So once you choose this customer, you can create the customer from here. You can create the customer from here, new customer. Then you can now come here to add the customer as POS client, which means this POS client means every time you are doing invoices, it will automatically select this customer for you by default. That's what POS client means. So you can see all your customers list here. Then you just select this and you say save. So record save. So anytime I'm doing invoice now, I can select customer that I'm doing invoice for. But if I had already set my POS client, automatically it will memorize it. So if I'm sending an invoice to this customer now, if I've done an invoice for this customer, then I put the quantity. I'm just testing. The item name is testing. Then I put the quantity. Maybe the quantity is 2, and I press enter. Then I say pay cash. So once I say pay cash, automatically it will print by default, because I said I've checked that this thing should always print. Yeah. So automatically, whichever printer you are using, it's going to send it to the printer. So me, I'm using a PDF printer. So by default, it has sent it to my PDF printer. But if you are using the real printer, it will automatically send it to your printer by default. So this is the invoice that I did for Knox Baba. So this is the invoice, and this is the invoice number. This is the file name, this is the issue date and all that. So you can see that this is the invoice and everything. So now if I go to my mailbox now, that's the customer mailbox. By default, this customer would have received an email address saying invoice number 31 from Knox World Limited. That's your company name. So this is the invoice. This is the invoice, as you can see. This is the invoice in my mail. So the invoice usually comes in like a scan document. This is a scan.document.py. So automatically the software will scan it for you and send it to the email address of the customer. So assuming this is the email address of the customer, you can see that the invoice has dropped in. So this is it. So that is how to send invoice through mail to customer. Don't forget, under your customer, new customer, if you have the customer already on your system, you can see that from your customer list. These are the list of the customer. So if I want to edit this customer's email address now, I'll just come here, new customer, and I'll select the customer. Then I can change the email address, or I can update the email address and say update when I'm done. Then I can close. Then if I want to create a new customer, I'll come here to create a new customer. This is how to create a new customer. Then don't forget that before the invoices can be sent through email, this has to be set. This set under this set inventory item prices. So once you click on it, make sure that this is checked. If this is not checked, if you prepare an invoice, it will not go. And don't forget, this is where you prepare the invoice, this page. So but if that is not set, it won't go. Then if you don't have a default customer, you can select your customer here as well. But once you've already set a default customer, it will always memorize it. Don't forget that too. So that is all about this tutorial. Then I'll quickly rush through how to bring in your new inventory too. This is how to bring in new inventory. You select this new inventory item, then allow it to come up. Once it come up, you select your vendor. So once you select your vendor, you put the quantity. Put the quantity. Let's say the quantity is 50. If it is a new item, under a new category, let's say rice, for instance, then what type of rice is it? Uncle Ben rice. Because you don't have this item on the system at all before. This is the first time we are entering it. Uncle Ben rice. So I'll put it here. Then I can put the unit price that I bought it. Let's say I bought each of them for 1,000 naira. Then the selling price, I put it. The selling price can come up by itself if you've set a percentage. Like, okay, I want it to always give me 5% of the unit price. I want it to always give me 5% of the unit price as the selling price. So automatically to calculate 5% of this, add it to this and bring it down here for your selling price. But if this is not your selling price, you can always change it. So then I'll press enter on my keyboard. It says invoice number is empty, so I can put the invoice number here. Let's say the invoice number is invoice number 70. Then I'll press enter, so automatically it drops it. I can add more than one item. I can add as many items. Let's say I have another kind of rice. Let's say I have 40 quantity of for instance 40 quantity of Mr. B rice. So I'll put the unit price to, let's say the unit price of this is 2,000 naira. They automatically calculate 5% of this to give me as a selling price. But this, you can change this as well. So you press enter on your keyboard, then you save. If it asks you for sales tax, this is where you select your sales tax, and you do all this once in a lifetime or probably once in a while. You don't have to do it all the time, but if it asks you for sales tax, this is where you select it. And sometimes it might ask you for account payable. This is where you select that too. Then when you are done, you click on save. So automatically, do you want to print this invoice? No. So I'll close it now. By default, if I go to my stock list, this is my stock list. This Uncle Ben rice would have been here. I can search by typing Uncle Ben. You can see Uncle Ben rice. The quantity is 50. The selling price is 30 naira. So that's for that. Then I can close this. Then now if I want to add more to Uncle Ben rice, we only have 50 quantity. If I want to add more to Uncle Ben rice, I don't need to go through all those processes again. I'll just select this same new inventory, this one, new inventory, the same process, but I don't have to type it all over again. All I just need to do is select Uncle Ben, then put the quantity I'm adding to it. Let's say I'm adding 20 quantity to it. 20. then I'll press enter on the keyboard. It's requesting for invoice number again, so I can add the invoice number that I use in buying this from my own vendor. Then I'll press enter. So then I click on save. Do you want to print this? I'll say no. Then I can close it. So if I come to the stock inventory, you can see that Uncle Ben would have been 70 by now. So this is 70. So that's for that. So then you can now sell under here. So that's all about that. Thank you for watching this video.